Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Mad Capper and this is another video on Raid Shadow Legends. Today we're going to do another Spotlight series and this time it will be on Venus. Venus is my favorite champion in the game. She was my most sought after champion in the game. I actually pulled her after Draco, and for a little while I thought that maybe I had been duped. Maybe she wasn't as good as everyone told me, and having Draco meant maybe I didn't need her. But as you will see here, I actually use her in every single dungeon now. She has a very important role to play. Also, for those of you who haven't pulled a Draco but have a Venus, congratulations. You have an amazing champion that can easily progress you to a 2-key Ultra Nightmare clan boss. And in certain scenarios, you might even be able to push a 1-key. I haven't done it myself with Venus, but it is definitely something that's on the table. Let's take a look at my Venus and we'll just talk about how I use her, where we use her. We're not going to do a full in-depth guide. This isn't a guide on how to build Venus because she's so versatile. There's no right way to build her. Depends on what you're doing. But my Venus here, as you can see, she's in lifesteal gear. That's because I do use her for videos where I built them so you don't have to, where I'm putting a champion and featuring them in the clan boss. So I use her so I can put together a counterattack based team and showcase the champions that way. I just don't bother taking her out of the lifesteal gear afterwards because it's just a waste of resources. So might as well keep her in that. It helps her stay alive in dungeons, not that she really needs it, but overall makes it easier on me, I guess. As for her stats, 49k health, 2500 attack, almost 2700 defense, 243 speed. That just makes sure she's the fastest on my team, no matter what's going on. Very specifically, although not Faction Wars, because one of my Sir Nicks is 253, but I will forgive him. Crit rate almost 100%. Again, just looking to put some damage on there to help speed up things. And then the 316 accuracy, more than enough for anywhere. It's just honestly, I didn't really think a whole lot when putting this together. I just, basically put it together to get her faster than everyone else, so that I could use her in every dungeon. And that's what I ended up with. But you have some choices. First off, if you're using her in the clan boss, you're probably using her in a counterattack team. In which case, you want to make sure that you're using her specifically with more defense than anything else. You got to make sure her accuracy is 250 or higher for Ultra Nightmare, and then her speed is tuned to whatever you're using. Typically, it's going to be like 178 or 198, depending on how you're tuning your team. I recommend, if you're low spend, free to play, that you go for the higher speeds. A lot of people say not to, but in my opinion, a faster Venus means it's a lot easier to use her elsewhere. The other option is if you tune her to 178 without speed boots. That way you can swap in speed boots and make her faster for dungeon runs. Either of those is acceptable. It just depends on how you want to play it, keeping in mind that every time you swap out boots, you're paying either 50 or 100,000 silver to do so. Again, the biggest thing about her and her stat wise is that 112 speed is the second fastest in the game. That makes it very easy to tune her for just about anywhere. Also to note with the clan boss is she is best suited for a counterattack team and pairs extremely well with Frozen Banshee. Frozen Banshee's poison sensitivity, and I imagine, though I haven't done it yet, our good friend Lydia, also because she's got the poison sensitivity debuff, would pair very well with Venus in some sort of scenario for the clan boss as well. You can build her out for defense. You want at least 4k attack, about 40k health, just to keep her survivable. You want her to be going first so that she debuffs before the rest of the team goes. And after that, you can build her for damage. If you're in an unkillable scenario, such as a single Jabrosh card with a counterattack, as one such example, then you can build her high attack because you're going to get that extra damage out of her. Either work. She does hit okay. She's not a super damage dealer, but she doesn't hit like a wet noodle either. Somewhere in the middle. Also, sidebar, she does not use her skill set properly. She doesn't like using her HP burn on the clan boss. Just doesn't like it. As for books, I do highly recommend fully booking her, mainly for this. This is your key ability right here, which is on a 3-turn cooldown already, which means you can use her right out the gate, although it's only a 75% chance that you book to 100% chance. So that 100% chance is a huge deal. This as well, I do like the 75% chance of HP burn, and the 1-turn cooldown is always nice, but it's not necessity. It's just an extra. Typically in the arena, you don't need to loop back to a second time of this. It's nice for extra damage in dungeons, but it's not critical. As for this right here, it's only damage. I actually didn't book it out, and I don't think you need to book it out. The damage is multiplicative, not additive, so her damage isn't so high that you're really going to get any sort of numbers by 5 or 10 or 20%. It's not a significant number, so I don't think it's worth the books at all. You have way better things to put books into. And of course, this I do have a video with her and Cupidus, couples therapy. It's the first video of that series. If you want more information of her when paired with Cupidus, check out that video. Her masteries, I have her mastered pretty generically for Clan Boss. She's Clan Boss ready, but also able to be used elsewhere. And the big thing here is take the accuracy, take the 20% turn meter reduction in case you need to use her in the arena. Also pretty good in dungeons. And then you have both the chance to land, because it's a 50% chance on her A1, so that gives her an extra 5% there, and you can extend it to 3 turns with that there. On this side, again, we're just going for good damage. I do have this in case the skill exceeds 30% of the target's max HP. Typically doesn't happen. I don't think I would take that if I did it again. I'd probably just go here. But honestly, none of them are a huge deal, so I don't think it's a big difference there. It's not going to be the damage you want it to be. And then going down to War Master, because of course we're using her quite a bit in Clan Boss, I want the ability to use her in Clan Boss and not have to remaster her all the time. So that's her skill set. Let's take a look at her. First and foremost, and a lot of people don't think of this, but you can use her in the campaign. If you were fortunate enough to pull her very early in the game and you've decided to pour your resources into her as your first 6-star over your starter, it's a good idea. She doesn't have a weak affinity, so she can rip through all the campaign. And even though I don't have her in super attack or anything like that type gear, as you can see, I don't have a problem getting through the different waves. She can cycle through her abilities pretty easily, and depending on the RNG on the crit damage, of course, if I had 100% crit, probably would be less of an issue. But it's going to be a 20 second is the fastest, and maybe up to 30 seconds, if that, as the slowest. There you saw 21 seconds. Even though she didn't kill the first wave, she can actually sometimes kill the first wave just using her A2. So very simple. She very easily can do this. So it's not speed, but honestly, it's not that. It's probably as fast as it would be with a Kale or in the lane anyway. So why not put that into a champion that you know you're going to be using into the end game, like Venus, especially for free-to-play players. Next, let's go to dungeons. I use her in every single dungeon. Period. I use her in every dungeon. It's dungeon, use her here, all of them. But what we'll feature we'll feature Spider's Den. The nice thing about Spider's Den is that she's got a neutral affinity 3-turn AoE. As you can see, with this comp, I can put 1 food in there and still level up. This is the only one where sometimes I don't use her, because I often use a Tyrant Miscreated Monster duo to farm with 3 food. It's a slower build, but it's a more efficient one. But in this case, if we're speeding up, we're just using our Royal Guards with Kymar to reset them so that they each get 2 turns. On a sidebar, though this isn't a Kymar video, I can use Kymar fast or slow. This is one of the few places that he prioritizes his AoE when he goes first instead of his A3. But because there's people on cooldown, he uses his A3 rather than his AoE, which is nice. I don't know if that's something that's coded for Spider Den or whether that's something coded for Kymar if you have enough champions. We'll find out. Maybe the Tower of Doom has something similar where it's got a lot of ads, and if that's the case, then we'll find out. Let's go to the Fire Knight Castle. That's another place that a lot of people want to go, but I mean, we could feature her in everywhere. I do want to show you one other one. I'm going to show you the dragon, and it's a special case. But in this one, probably pretty standard build. I don't know. The great thing, you see, she got reset, but she does not. If her HP burn is open, she will not use her. She uses her A2 priority. But when she was reset there, she recognizes that there's already a defense down and weaken on the enemy, so she went to her HP burn, which is great because that actually reduces the chance of her relapping buffs, and that way when it comes to here, she'll have it and of course use it on the shield, because that's how she works. But a lot of the times, it's actually a pretty good. It's a pretty good scenario, especially in, like, for example, the dragon. So, I mean, pretty easy. Once the shield's open, Lyssandra's not going to let it close. We just got to cycle back to her defense down weekend. There you go. And then we're probably going to be about a minute 40 on this run. Oh, no, we're going to get the double Cold Heart. By the way, Cold Heart, if the turn meter's below, I believe 25% or 30%, she won't use her A3 if her A2 is open. But if it's on cooldown or the turn meter is high enough, she will use her A3. So I guess in a way that's pretty good because it prioritizes her turn meter to be efficient. But it's, in this particular case, I would have loved to just use it, and it would have been a little bit faster than minute 24. Deleted. And one more place we're going to use her in is the Dragon's Lair. Now, I wanted to show you this because a lot of people tell me, but I pulled Draco. I don't need her anymore. You can see I was having a little fun with it with one of my other videos. Spoiler alert, there's I built them so you don't have to, coming soon to a channel near you. With some very important footage of how to never use a legendary in the dragon and still do well. So we, on this run, I use a Royal Guard. Actually, I think I use 2 Royal Guards. It's been so long since I ran Dragon, I actually do not remember if I use 1 or 2. I use 1. Yes, I do. Okay. Royal Guard, Venus, and Draco. Yeah. Mind blown? I know. You're right now, you're reeling. I can tell you're reeling. You're confused. You're a little angry. Oh, I do use 2 Royal Guards. Oh, look at me with my double Royal Guard. So the reason why I use this, and we'll see it, and this is part of their AI. This is one of the few times where I can compliment their AI. Notice how Draco used his poisons because he could tell that there was already a debuff. Similarly, now that there's not a debuff, Draco will put down his defense down and weaken, and then she doesn't. It should be off cooldown there. I can't remember the turns, but then on the 3rd round, she can use her defense down weaken. So it's almost like having a Kymar. All 3 rounds, you get that defense down weaken relatively quickly so that you can power through the waves with relative ease. And then it's just a matter of, my Royal Guards doing what Royal Guards do. And of course, Ethos trying to steal some of the thunder by crushing them. I think that's a 50-second. I'm not on unlimited right now, but as you can see, I don't know. I don't think this team was 31 seconds, but I think it's like 40 to 50 seconds. It's not too bad. It's under a minute. I'm okay with. I'm not going to try to min-max the number, but you see how Draco and Venus together actually synergize extremely well without the Kymar, right? If I didn't do that, I would need to use a Kymar. Also, Draco has amazing damage, so I can use Draco for his damage, use him for his poisons on the dragon, for example, and be able to synergize the 2 of them with their defense down weekend. So it's a nice ability that that not every champion's that smart. Thankfully, the 2 of these are smart. Bear in mind, a weak hit will get varied results. What else do we got? So we've used her everywhere else. Why don't we? I'm gonna re-gear her, and I hate doing this, but we're gonna do this. I'm gonna hit pause on the recording. I'm gonna re-gear her, and we're gonna bring her into the arena and see if we can't showcase her in an arena scenario for you, where you might be using her. This is probably more for a free-to-play. Like I said, they've introduced a lot of champions that, while she's good in the arena, there's a lot of other champions that are better because they buff strip. Madame Saris, for example. And buff strip have become more important than debuffs. And the reason is immunity gear is prevalent out there, and definitely shield sets and champions with shields. And when you combine all that, especially in the upper gold 4 and as you get further to the late game, it is more important that you're able to strip those buffs than it is to put up buffs. For example, I often don't use a debuff stripper. I use Cythalia or sorry, I don't often use a debuffer. I use a stripper. I use Thalia to be able to auto and speed farm gold 4, as opposed to, you know, bringing in something like a Venus and having to go through the whole thing, or having to have a stripper, a debuffer, and a stripper on the same team. So, but we will show you that in a minute here, and then we'll wrap things up with my final thoughts on the My Bay Venus. Oh, I always hate these. Okay, so we're gonna speed, and then we're going to boost, and then we're gonna drop down. Obviously, you see Sathalia is gonna get it, but now we have a defense down and weaken. And I think I kind of want to take out him, to be honest. There, he's already done. Good. Audio difficulties. I apologize. Basically, the point I wanted to make at the end of this is that the advantage Venus has, and unfortunately in the current meta, it's not a great enough advantage to use her over other champions. But the advantage Venus has is that because she's putting a defense down and weaken, it allows you to do more damage. Consider big, beefy champions like Krisk, that champions that you aren't typically, even Duchess and a lot of Arbiters can be built out very thick. So it gives you that opportunity to put down a defense down and weaken and be able to kill them, as opposed to not being able to kill them. So we're going to give you another one. I'm not going to show you. Okay, spoiler alert, I try infinite and I get frozen, and I actually did pretty good off the start. I get frozen, I lose the battle. So no need to see, nothing to see here. Full transparency, I lose this battle because dang frozen. Okay, some final thoughts. First of all, apologies. I actually had a few more examples in the arena, but the audio is all messed up. I'm not quite sure what happened. Me and this computer are perpetually in argument and fighting, and if you're not surprised, the computer usually wins. So screw it, you get the idea. You bring in Venus as a debuffer, so you either bring in double speed boost Venus nuker, or you have to bring in single boost strip. So Sathalia would be perfect because she does do a bit of a boost. The problem with that is with Madame Ceres, it kind of makes everything else a little bit annoying, because now you have the part where you have to actually have two separate champions to achieve pretty much the same thing. The flip side of Venus in the arena is that because she has a defense down weaken, she would actually allow you to do more damage against some of those thicker champions that you need to kill, right? Thinking of champions like Krisk or Vargal, those sort of champions. So it might be worthwhile if you had a Venus just sitting there. I don't know why you would, because like I showed you, I use her everywhere in every dungeon. And that's kind of where my final thoughts lead. Let me put it to you this way. If I had to give up all legendaries but one on my account, and when you look at the account, I do have some decent ones. Definitely Ethos, Sir Nick, obviously Arbiter, Tormund, Canderfon, Foley. You know, there are some great champions. Valkyrie, who's one of the top champions, if for no other reason than she's such a versatile champion with the counterattack. And still, even with all that, and I have more here, if I had to pick one champion in this game to keep and the rest I throw away, it would be Venus. I firmly believe that Venus is the best overall champion in this game. While I don't think you can call her number one anywhere specifically, you could argue every dungeon she's number one, because you need that defense down and weaken, and she has it in spades. But she's not a specialist anywhere. But what you can do is use her in every single aspect of this game, from 3v3 arena to dragon to faction war. She's amazing. All dungeons, all potion dungeons, and of course in the campaign, even if you needed to, you could use her. There's nowhere that she doesn't slot in. Yes, definitely, as the game ages and as we get more champions and more specialized champions and new abilities, perhaps she's not the first choice anymore in some of those areas, but she's still very endgame. She's very high in progression, account progression, and the best thing about her is if you pull her on day 1, you'll still be using her on day 361, right? She's one of those champions that you can use in every single aspect of the game, and you won't be disappointed by putting books into her and using her everywhere. So I love Venus. I wish I could take her in there. I already stripped her gear from her to do some more arena before compiling this video, and then realized that all the audio was garbled and messed up, and the video messed up for a little bit on the rest of my arena chances. So I'm sorry, But if you have a Venus, you can try it out. Tell me what you think. Am I right? Is she the #1 legendary in the game, or am I crazy? Or maybe both. Maybe she is, but I am still crazy. Who knows? Probably the third option is the correct answer. Also, please subscribe. 70% of you who watch these videos do not subscribe, and it's free on YouTube. Helps me with the YouTube algorithm, and of course helps me with the content creator program we will be pushing in the new year. A chance to get 2,000 subs and to get my views up to 7,000 a week. So that's going to put a lot on me, but it's also going to put a lot on you to hopefully subscribe, like, and watch as many videos as often as humanly possible. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. Be kind, stay safe, practice social distancing, and we'll see you in the next video.